all the players, all the youth players, they had MSN Messenger. So I would used to add all of the players on MSN, Jack Wilshere, J. Emmanuel Thomas.
Is there any football coach after Arteta? If he's that?
Yeah, I think there's a few coaches. I mean, everyone knows all the big name coaches, the Ancelottis, the Thomas Tuchels. You know, these guys have got big jobs now in the Premier League. I think Allegri as well has been mentioned in the past. But for me, if Arsenal were to get a new manager, it would have to be someone with experience, and it would have to be someone who can manage on a tight transfer budget, because we know Arsenal have spent money on players like Pepe and Partey, but they don't have the money that Chelsea and Man City have. So I think Julian Nagelsmann from Leipzig, he's a really good coach, really talented. I'd probably go for him. Arsene Wenger.
In Korea, there's a lot of talk going on about Son Heung-min. And the last game, between Tottenham and Manchester United, it's a really sensitive thing. But is there anything, the Solskjaer mentioned about his son? Is it a foul or not? The Korean media is talking about it.
Yeah, it's a big topic. I know. And one thing I would say about Son is that I don't like Tottenham. I do like Son. He's he's a really humble guy. I just like the way he carries himself on the pitch. And I think nowadays, when a player is touched, it doesn't matter how they're touched, they go down. And that's their right, because players know that they can get an advantage, they can win free kicks. And every player does this. So I don't see an issue with that. I think managers as well after the game, they always, especially Jose Mourinho, plays mind games. They say things to provoke other people, other managers, to try and get an advantage. And they don't always mean what they say. Arsene Wenger, I think with some people talking about that incident, but I don't think it's a big thing. I think what is more important is that I know he received, racist abuse after the game on social media. I think that is the biggest issue. That is the biggest problem. We've seen on social media, and that is something that needs to be removed from society because it is disgusting. Yeah, so I'd like to say that we're all with Son and we're supporting him, because I think that's just completely disgraceful. Arsene Wenger.
Well, it's just for your information, the mainstream of the Korean football fans were, basically it was Manchester United was the best team in the Korea because of Park Ji-sung, do you remember?
Yeah.
Like 90% of the Korean fans were supporting Manchester United. Arsenal was especially Arsene Wenger used to, football coach in Japan.
Arsene Wenger.
And the history between Korea and Japan. So the Arsenal supporters was not on the mainstream. And the Tottenham, it was like this much in Korea. But nowadays, with Son Heung-min, the mainstream is moving from Manchester United to Tottenham nowadays. So the big fight was, in between Korean guys. Manchester United fans backing up Solskjaer, and the Tottenham guys backing up Son.
I see. So what about when Chu Young Park, a big signing for the Korean fans? Were you really happy about that?
It was really, really big. A lot of new fans coming into Arsenal community, and soon they all pissed off, making so much insult about Arsenal and Arsene Wenger, who doesn't use him. So this is disastrous memory for a lot of Korean Arsenal fans, because Park Ji-hyung is playing, stadium right there. I live next to Seoul Stadium. He's playing right now, right there, today.
You can say hello from me, Arsene Wenger. To be honest, he's he got a lot of criticism but he didn't play. I think it was a bit unfair. He didn't play any games really. I remember he scored against Bolton, I think in the League Cup. I think it was.
Cup. Yeah, it was Cup.
I remember that goal. But other than that, he didn't really play any games. So people who say that he's one of the worst Arsenal signings, I wouldn't agree with that, because you have to play games to be considered a bad player, and he didn't play. So Arsene Wenger.
Any real thing about Jesse Lingard recently?
I don't think so. No, I think the most likely thing with Jesse Lingard is that he will either go back to Man United because he's been playing so well, or West Ham will sign him. And I think West Ham very close to getting Champions League football. So I'm sure he would prefer to stay at West Ham and play in the Champions League. Arsene Wenger.
Never seen them playing so well. It's really awkward to see the West Ham on that spot of the league.
It is, but like I say before, this season is crazy. It's strange because there's so many surprise results. Different teams are playing really well. Players are getting injured all the time. So it's a really unique season. Arsene Wenger.
What about Lucas Torreira? Is he mad about club? The club did something bad to him? Why does he want so much to,
No, with Lucas Torreira, his mother passed away a few weeks ago. So I think his family are Boca Junior fans. He wants to be closer to his family in South America. I think that's the main reason why he wants to go back. So it's quite sad, really. I think though Arsenal, as well as being a club, are a business. So Lucas Torreira is worth probably 15, 20 million pounds. They can't just let him go to Boca Juniors on loan because he wants to go. They have to find something that works for everybody. So I hope the situation gets resolved because he's a really, he seems like a nice, I don't think he'll be playing for Arsenal again. But you never know. Arsene Wenger.
People ask about you, not about Arsenal, about you. And they want to know how did you become in charge of Arsenal, especially among the lot of football teams?
How did I start supporting Arsenal?
No, like how did you become the cover up the Arsenal? How did you?
Okay.
Because you like the club.
Because I'm an Arsenal fan. Yeah, that's the main reason. So from the age of 13, 14 years old, I started my own Arsenal blog. And that is when I realized I wanted to become a journalist because I would used to write articles on my blog about team news. This is in the old days, 2007, 2008, when all the youth players, they had MSN Messenger. So I would used to add all of the players on MSN, Jack Wilshere, J. Emmanuel Thomas, Sanchez Watt, Henry Lansbury, Oguzhan Ozyakup, Emmanuel Frimpong, all of these guys. I used to speak with them on MSN. They didn't know my face. They didn't know who I was, but they would always reply because we were similar. Well, they were a few years older than me, but a similar age. Arsene Wenger and a couple of those players, they used to give me team news. It was the Amsterdam tournament that Arsenal used to play in pre-season. And I think I asked Sanchez Watt about the squad, like which players are traveling, which players are, and I would used to break those stories, which was really cool. And a lot of visitors came to my blog, and that's when I realized, I think this is the job I want to do. Like, how can I do this job? But it took me a long time. I wrote for The Independent, for The Mirror for free. And then I went to university, I studied journalism, and I got a job at Eurosport as the social media manager. And I was there for 2 years. And then eventually my old colleague contacted me. He said, "We've got this job. I think you would love it. It's Arsenal correspondent for goal.com." And I said, "No, I don't think so. I'm not sure about this job because I'm very comfortable. I'm very happy at Eurosport, and I'm not sure I'd be good enough for this job. I don't think I will take it." And he kept calling me. He kept saying, like, "Look, I think you'd be good at this job." So I went for a meeting. I accepted the job. Arsene Wenger, I think being a goal was amazing because I got to not just cover Arsenal, but I went to the World Cup in 2018 to Russia. I went to the Euro 2016 in France, and I got to travel with Arsenal to Madrid, Milan, Moscow. It was really amazing, an amazing job. Arsene Wenger. And then I started a company in 2019, a social media agency with Mesut Ozil and his agent. So I was working with Mesut, which was really cool. And but it wasn't my main passion. So eventually I decided I wanted to come back into journalism. And last summer, I started at Football London, and it's a really, really nice place to work. I've got some great colleagues. I think Catsenal knows Kaya Kainak, who he's a really good reporter, really good journalist. Yeah, that's my path into journalism and how I started covering Arsenal. Arsene Wenger.
Do you like mint choco flavor ice cream?
No, I don't.
No?
I don't like mint in sweet stuff. I just don't think it goes. Do you?
Do you know why? We are asking about mint
No,
choco?
I don't know.
I mean, there's a really stupid question is going on in this Korea. Everybody asking about, do you like mint choco? There's a lot of guys who love mint choco, call themselves mincho party.
Mincho party.
Mincho party. In short, mint choco, party. In short, mincho party.
Arsene Wenger.
And there's like half of another Korean who criticize them. That's the toothbrush. You guys are crazy.
Well, the answer is no. That's for sure. I don't like mint chocolate ice cream. Mincho patty. Thomas Party. Catsenal.
Half of people gonna love your answer, and other people are gonna hate your answer. But
I'm sorry. Arsene Wenger.
Any favorite players? You think the most Arsenal legend?
Thierry Henry is the most people would agree with that, because I grew up watching him, and my best memories of him as a player, scoring at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid, that amazing goal. But so many amazing goals. What about you guys? Who are your favorite players?
세상에 먼저 얘기해보죠. 제일 좋아하는 아스날 선수.
저요?
자기는 아니고.
다비드 루이스. 그라니트 자크.
Yeah, wow, okay, nice. I'm a big fan of Granit Xhaka, but David Luiz, I'm not
They
sure.
are leader.
I think leader. Yeah, true.
For me, I choose him as my nickname.
Ramsey.
I remember him break his leg during the game.
저건 외질이에요?
이건 외질이요.
메스.
외질. 네. Two of my favorite players. I saw him.
Wait. I can get you something. Can you wait for 1 minute? I'll just bring something.
Sure. Yeah, take your time. Yeah. 해볼만 하세요. 괜찮으세요? 저는 뭐 더듬더듬하지 어떻게든 연결은 되고 있는 것 같은데.
저는 막 영어 강의 듣는 거.
Arsene Wenger. This is my favorite player.
Socrates.
This is it was one of my favorite players, but there's a reason for that. It's because I'm half Greek, so Socrates is obviously one of the best Greek defenders of all time, and he's someone I knew really well because I spent time with him and his family. I love his style as well. He's like a real defender, like a tough defender, and I like this kind of player who cares about the team, cares about winning. So yeah, he's one of my favorite players. Catsenal.
Is it your mother's side or father's side? The Greek
My
part?
father's side, yeah.
Have you ever lived, in Greece or something? No?
Never lived, but I go there every year, every summer. I spend time in Greece, and I know a lot of the Greek football players as well. Like I have a big interest in Greek football, so yeah, all of the
Vegas
kind of
style?
big. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The Greek style is quite opposite style.
The national team. Yeah, it's like Stoke City. They kick it long and like this. Yeah, very different style.
Amazing they win the Euro 2000, was it?
2004.
2004, yeah, 2004. Amazing, yeah, amazing memory. Yeah.
Catsenal.
This is another stupid question, I think. Do you know that name? Charles Watts, James Benzie, who also cover up for the Arsenal.
Of course I know them. Of course, they're my good they're good friends. Yeah, Charlie Watts. I've known him for a few years, and when I left goal, I kind of recommended him as the one to replace me, and he's doing really well. He's a good friend of mine, and James as well. I speak to James a lot. He's at CBS, but before he was at Football London. Both really good guys.
He was in London. He was in Football London.
Yes, he was. Yeah, I worked with him. I worked with him for 2 months, and then he left. But
Wow.
hopefully it wasn't me. He didn't leave because of me. Catsenal.
I mean, people want to know among you guys who is most handsome guys.
I don't think I can answer that question. I think that's for the people to decide. I think I would rather people judge our work than what we look like. But
Yeah.
I guess my best answer would be, we're all beautiful. Everyone is beautiful. So, Catsenal.
Who is taking most important role in this team? Who should be the center of the future Arsenal? Do you think is there any player?
Yeah, I think Gabriel in defence, he's a really good young player. I think 23 years old, he's come in, he's showing what he can do. And I think he's going to be part of the future core of this Arsenal team. And when you're talking about the main core players, I think Bernd Leno is obviously the number one goalkeeper. And he's going to be number one for a couple of years at least. I would say, a lot of people would say Thomas Partey is the core. But I would say Granit Xhaka is as important, or maybe even more important, because the role that he does in that team, he really is important for the midfield to make them tick. His passing, his reading of the game, and he's fantastic. He can play at left back. Not many midfielders can play at left back. It's really impressive. I really like Granit Xhaka, and I'd say Martin Odegaard as well. Odegaard is another key player, and Saka. Of course, everyone is going to say Saka, but Saka is going to be the first name on the team sheet for many years to come. Catsenal.
Okay, see, Leno, Gabriel, Xhaka, Odegaard, and Saka. Like
Exactly.
this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I've probably forgotten about Kieran Tierney as well. But
Sure.
how many players? I don't know. I could mention lots of players, but Kieran Tierney is probably another player. And Gabriel Martinelli as well.
Sure. We are almost getting into best 11.
Yeah.
Two more players, another defender in the right back. Yeah. And then we got your best 11.
Two more players. Right back. In the current team, Arsenal's best right back is probably Cedric. But it depends on the opponent, I think. But Cedric, I like him at right back. And the other defender, Catsenal is going to be annoyed at me for this. I wouldn't pick David Luiz.
David Luiz.
I would pick Rob Holding. I really like. I'm a big fan of Rob Holding. I would play him at centre back next to Gabriel.
I see. Yeah. 다비드 루이즈를 안 뽑아서 미안합니다.
네?
다비드 루이즈를 안 뽑아서 미안하답니다.
아하.
Catsenal.
So we are doing it for about an hour. And Chris, are you okay right now? Can you keep going on? Yeah,
I
sure.
can keep going.
엠지님 저도
okay.
질문할래요.
네, 하시죠. 네.
Alba is not doing well these days. Is the local fan response good or bad?
I think the fans right now have sympathy towards Orba because he's been sick. He's had malaria. I don't think anyone knew about that he had malaria. It's very serious. He's okay, which is good. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's maybe struggled in the past few weeks. What I would say about Aubameyang is that he is such an important player for this Arsenal team. Last season, he won Arsenal the FA Cup. It was Aubameyang who won Arsenal the FA Cup. His performances against Man City and Chelsea were so important. Catsenal. This season, he's struggled a little bit. But what I would say is it's not just what he offers on the pitch. He is loved by his Arsenal teammates. They love him. And he's so important for the atmosphere. And I think that's another reason why Mikel Arteta likes him in the dressing room at the club. Catsenal. But he's had so many different issues this season. He's had his mum who was sick. He had to go and visit her in Gabon. He's been sick himself now. And I just feel like he's had a few challenges this season. So the fans, I think, are happy with him. There was the incident where he was late recently. But other than that, I think, he's got a long-term future at Arsenal. So hopefully we're going to be seeing him scoring some goals very soon. Catsenal.
Okay, next. What do you think Saka would fit in with the Grealish family?
Saka and Grealish together.
Yes, 뭐라 하지 그거?
네. 어떤, 예, 말씀하시죠. 그릴리시? 잭 그릴리시? 아, 누가 더
그
나아요?
패밀리 있잖아요. 영국
패밀리?
국대. 네.
아, 영국 국대에서
단톡방인가?
그릴리시하고 누구가 또 있대요? 사카?
바클리.
바클리. 예.
맥긴도 있나?
맥킨? He's asking about, is there some
Catsenal.
issue about the national teams, some kind of gang of players and like being or something? Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've seen, haven't we? Bukayo is really close with Jack Grealish. I think Grealish really likes him as a player as well. I think he's in his fantasy football team. I think a lot of people they get along with Bukayo Saka because he's very humble. You know, he's not an arrogant player. He's very down to earth. So I don't know too much about who is close to who in the England team. I don't follow England. Patriot. I'm not a big England supporter. But yeah, no, Saka is really close with Grealish. So hopefully he can persuade him to join Arsenal. Catsenal.
Who is Bobby in the Xhaka open mic in Arsenal YouTube? Xhaka tell Bobby? 누구 별명을 뭐라 하죠? 닉네임이라나?
아, 닉네임.
Rob Holding.
아, 홀딩.
Yeah, it's
Rob,
like a nickname. Rob, Bobby.
Bobby.
It's not a common nickname, but yeah, I think Rob Holding is Bobby. Catsenal.
Which player does Arteta call the most during the game?
Thomas
Thomas?
Partey.
Party.
Oh.
And sometimes he calls him Tommy.
Tommy.
Tommy, yeah. I hear him shouting, Tommy, Tommy. Or for Willian, it's Willy.
Really.
Yeah, he has nicknames for different players. Pepe is Nico. He will shout Nico. Yeah, I think Granit Xhaka as well. He's very funny, Granit Xhaka. All of the players they call Pepe, they call him Nico. And Xhaka is the only one who will shout Pepe, Pepe. At Pepe. It's very fun. He's the only player who says it. Catsenal.
I mean, does Arteta use English or Spanish during the game when he shouts?
He uses different languages. So most of the time he will speak English to the players, but sometimes he will speak Spanish to Ceballos, Bellerin. Sometimes he will speak Spanish to French. He will speak, not always, but sometimes he speaks French. He can also speak Portuguese. So he speaks to Cedric, David Luiz in Portuguese, and Martinelli as well. So 3 or 4 different languages he can speak. I wish I could speak. Catsenal.
램지님 가장 많이 쓰는 지시어가 뭐냐고 물어봐주세요.
아르테타가요. What does he use? No, a lot. The comment to the players. Any
Catsenal. Yeah.
comments do you remember? He said a lot. Yeah.
Just very like words of encouragement, like yes, Nico, to Pepe.
For the tactics or something, like
Not really shouting tactics, but he will encourage the players to press. So if the player isn't running enough, for example, Lacazette, sometimes he doesn't press quickly. He will say, "Come on, Laka, like press." Mikel Arteta wants all of the players to work very hard for him. And if they don't work hard, he will shout at them on the pitch to make sure they do. So I think this is a good thing. Catsenal.
next.
몇 살이냐 묻는 거 실례인가?
Does it in England does it rude to ask you how old you are?
No, I think if you're on a date, how old are you? Then that's rude. But if you ask me how old I am, I'm 27. So
okay, for your information, 35.
okay, nice. You both look very young.
Oh, really? You too. What about you, Junior? Do you want to share some information?
31.
31. Wow. Catsenal. I'm 27, but I feel like I'm 45. When I watch Arsenal, it makes me feel much older. Catsenal.
Did you heard about Arteta's 3-year project?
When he first joined the club, yes, I heard. I think when every manager comes into a club, he has a project. He has a long-term ambition of what, and I think with Arteta, he's no different. His project is mostly about making sure that everyone has the same philosophy, and the players who don't do what he says are gone. They're out of the door. And that's why he wants everyone having the same level of commitment. Catsenal. And I think eventually that 3-year plan will mean Arsenal are competing for the big trophies by the end of that 3 years. And if they're not, then I think people will be asking questions over Mikel Arteta. But it's good. I like Mikel Arteta. I think he's a good coach. Like I say, he adapts to every opposition he plays. I think that's a really good skill to have. Climate. Catsenal.
There's a lot of Korean guys who read about the English article when some player joined the team. They said that project make them convinced to join the team. So people really curious about, is there real things, the 3 years project? Is there like some kind of book or presentation file? Is that exist?
Yeah,
is it real thing?
If there is this PowerPoint presentation, then I want it. I want to look at it because it will be very good for my job as well. I can write lots of articles about Catsenal. I think Mikel Arteta and Edu, when they meet a player, they will present to them. To sign big players, you need to show them how they will fit into your project. So where exactly are they going to play? And you need to show them what you want to get out of that project. So, our aim is to win the Europa League this season, and then we're going to be competing in the Champions League next season. And you're going to be in this position and you're going to be an important part of our team. That's all. And I think that's what Mikel Arteta does really well. And Edu, we haven't spoken much about Edu, but he is really important. He's speaking with the agents of all of the Arsenal players, and he's also trying to sign players. Catsenal.
Is Edu is better than was the guy that worked with Arsene Wenger? Dane?
Dick Law. Oh,
Dick Law.
David Dean. He was more. He was very old-fashioned, very traditional, but at that time he was the best. David Dean. He could get any player to come to the club, and he had a very good negotiating skill. Catsenal. Dick Law is more of a he was a lawyer as well. What the problem with Arsene Wenger's time at the club is that those guys were so restricted. They didn't have the money to get the players they wanted. Whereas now, Unai Emery, Mikel Arteta, they've had the money for players. Pepe, Partey, Saliba, big signings for big money. But everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. So I think Edu is a really important part of the team. Catsenal.